Today, we're going to be talking about the difference between five-star quarterbacks and zero-star quarterbacks. So we're going to take a look at some film here from five-star QB out of Michigan, Bryce Underwood. And we're going to compare and contrast it to an unranked zero-star quarterback and his huddle highlight tape. So I think the most important thing what college coaches looking for in a quarterback, especially nowadays, is somebody who can make the throws that they don't expect you to make. Quarterback is one of the most competitive positions there is. If you go to any type of college camp, you've been to any type of exposure camp, the quarterback position is always a crowded position at the camp. So they're looking for guys that are going to stand out and make throws that they do not expect them to make, hence the name highlights, right? So we look at these first two clips here from Bryce Underwood, and like I said, we're going to compare it to a zero-star guy's film in a second, but what does he do here? He's not just dropping back, he's not just throwing to a wide open wide receiver, he's extending the play, he's making people miss, he's throwing off platform, and that's what a Division I college coach is going to look for. Now, the whole stars thing, right, like 5-star, 0-star, 3-star, college coaches really don't care about that. When you get to college, nobody cares if you're a 5-star, nobody cares if you're a 4-star. What they care about is if you're an explosive playmaker, and like I said, you can make plays they don't expect you to make. So from the quarterback position, this is the pure definition of plays they don't expect you to make. Like I said, quarterback position is one of the most competitive positions. There are so many guys out there. When you think about the state or the city that you live in, let's think about the city that you live in first. Think about the team that you're on. There can only be one quarterback. Now think about how many quarterbacks are in your division. Think about how many quarterbacks are in your county. Think about how many quarterbacks are in your state, and then times that by 49 because it's 50 states, right? That's how many quarterbacks there are, and there are so many quarterbacks out there that are tall, that are big, that can be accurate, that can have a good base in the pocket, that have good mechanics. How are you going to stand out? And usually on film, these 5-star Power 5 offer guys make these types of throws. So I'm not saying that you have to be like Michael Vick, or you got to play like Johnny Manziel when he was in college, but being able to make people miss, extend the play like this, throw off platform, this is a perfect example of this is what college coaches are going to want to see. Second example, again, he takes a snap, he's drifting back, he's not just staying from the pocket, he's stepping up in the pocket and delivering a pass downfield. Because again, guys, they're looking for people who can extend the play and make the throws they don't want to make. And you're going to see that on the zero-star film that we go over. Now, another thing that college coaches are going to be looking for in the quarterback position, at least at the Power 5 level, and this is one of the biggest differences I feel, is arm strength, right? So they're looking for a guy who can drive the ball and make college level throws. So let's look at this next throw here from Bryce Underwood. This is a great example of actual arm strength, right? So he's on the opposite hash, right? Opposite hash, and he is going to be throwing a fade ball. This is an insanely far throw. This is, I want to say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, like probably 35 to 40 yard pass that he ends up throwing from the opposite hash on a dime, just right in the bucket to the wide receiver. And he makes it look effortlessly. This is the type of arm strength that a Power 5 coach is going to want to see. He doesn't want to see you throw a fade ball from the middle of the field to a wide open wide receiver. He wants to see this. This is college level type arm strength. So what are some other throws that maybe a college coach is going to want to see? So this is a great example, like a fade ball from the opposite hash. Maybe you're on the left hash and you're throwing like a comeback route to the wide receiver on the outside on the right. Maybe you're throwing a timing 10 to 12 yard out to the receiver on the right. All of those types of throws are college level throws and can showcase that you have college level arm strength, which is ultimately what they want to see. So guys, they want to see people who can extend the play. They want to see people who have arm strength. And then they obviously want to see people who can read defenses, put the ball on an accurate spot. That's what they're looking for in these 5-star type guys. That's usually the biggest difference between them and 0-star quarterbacks on film. So now let's take a look at this 0-stars film. Now, no knock on this kid. This is just a random quarterback I found on Twitter who is unranked, but I want to go over his film because these are some of the mistakes that a lot of young quarterbacks will make when making a highlight tape. And your highlight tape is ultimately what gets you recruited. But before we get into his film, fellas, if you are a quarterback and you would like to train with us this offseason, we are going to be coming out to 14 more cities across the country for 2-day long QB and wide receiver training camps. So check out that very first link in the description below if you guys would like some more information on how you can sign up when we are in a city near you. Our next camp is going to be in Miami, Florida this weekend. That camp is completely sold out. They'll be heading out to Las Vegas, Charlotte. Both of those camps are sold out, and the remainder of these camps will sell out, you guys. They'll probably sell out 2 to 3 months in advance. But we have 11 more opportunities for you guys to train with us. We're coming out to Portland, Dallas, Nashville, Chicago, Buffalo, Atlanta, Atlanta, Houston, Philly, Detroit, Boise, and Los Angeles. So guys, if you want some more information, you would like to sign up for those camps, what we'll be covering, and again, how you could sign up, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. So now, when we're looking at film here, right, like I said, college coaches are not looking for quarterbacks who could just throw wide open passes, right? So like, let's say, for example, I have a really good receiver on the outside. He runs a good route. DB's nowhere to be found. Maybe the safety rolled down and he's wide open and I just throw him a pass. That's not really a highlight, right? Like, it's great. I understand that you know, it's a touchdown and maybe those are the best plays that you have on your highlight tape. But guys, like, that's usually the biggest difference. And this is something that I wish I would have known when I was a player, because a lot of times, you know, you're so fired up, you score a touchdown, you throw a pass, but like, is it really a highlight? When you're trying to make a highlight tape, when you're trying to stand out to a college coach, or even if you're trying to stand out to a high school coach with film or whatever the case may be, you're at a tryout, you need to ask yourself, is this a throw that not all quarterbacks can make? Like, and don't compare yourself to the, you know, the backup or the third string on your team. Compare yourself to the guys that you know you're going to be competing with at a camp, right? Let's say you go to an Elite 11 camp. Let's say you go to a rivals camp, a college camp. Compare yourself to the quarterbacks that are going to be there that you are actually competing with to get a college scholarship, right? And guys, nowadays with the transfer portal, this quarterback position is so freaking competitive, right? So if you just have average film, and I'm not trying to knock this guy because he actually is a very talented quarterback, but the film does not showcase he has attributes that hundreds of other quarterbacks across the country have. So let's play this full speed, then we'll talk about it, right? So again, clean pocket, good pocket, pretty open receiver, and he throws his touchdown. Now again, that's a pretty good pass, man. It's 5, 10, 15, 20, like 25-yard throw on a rope, right? But the receiver's wide open. He's got a clean pocket. And maybe he's on a very, very good team. Maybe they're not playing the best team. But this was a play that was very, very early on his highlight tape. To stand out to a college coach, the first, I would say, 3 minutes of your highlight tape. The first 3 minutes of your tape need to be explosive plays. And if these types of plays are on the first 3 minutes, that's just not something that's going to maybe attract a guy who's like a Power 5 coach, right? The whole purpose of this video is tell you the difference between 5 stars, 0 stars, right? Because there's so many quarterbacks, what separates them? And like I said, the stars thing doesn't matter, but the 5-star guys usually have the big Power 5 offers. The 0-star guys usually don't. Sometimes they land one because they don't care about stars, right? And that's great. And I think that's the best way to do it. But these 5-star guys, there's clear differences on their film and the plays that they make. They look dominant, right? So this was, I want to say, the first play on this kid's highlight tape. So like, this is just a throw that I feel, and again, I'm not trying to knock him, that a lot of high school quarterbacks across the country can make, right? And this kid's a little bit younger. He's not going into his senior year. He's got more high school time. So whatever, there's probably a lot of upside on this guy, but you're just not going to attract the attention of those Power 5 coaches with those types of plays being the only plays that you have, right? So let's look at this example again, right? So he drops back, and then look, receiver's wide open. There's not really anybody to be found, clean pocket. And it's just pretty much just like, hey, we're going to hand it to him, right? Now, again, it's a good throw. It's a great read. All these things are awesome, but it's just going to be a little bit harder to stand out with his film if these are the only types of plays that he has on there, right? So like, it would be a different story if, you know, maybe he was getting pressure and he had to throw this while getting hit, right? Be a different story if he was getting outside pressure. He had to step up, he had to drift back and then throw, like those clips we saw from Bryce Underwood. Bryce Underwood on multiple occasions would drop back, make somebody miss, step back, then throw, right? He would drift back, then throw a fade. He would step up in the pocket, step out, then throw. Not to mention the damage that he can do with his legs. I'm not saying every quarterback has to be like that, but those are throws that I feel not hundreds of quarterbacks can make in an actual game scenario. They could do it in practice. They could do it in t-shirt and shorts, but not in an actual live game. So why am I saying all this? How can you work on this type of stuff? Because this seems very situational, right? I would recommend anytime that you're training in the offseason, working with receivers, your quarterback coach, put yourself in uncomfortable footwork situations. That was one of the most beneficial things that I did when I trained, is I would always try to make throws uncomfortable, right? I wouldn't just drop back and throw posts and throw slants and throw fades and get really good in the pocket. You got to do that. You can't neglect it. But I would work situations where I'm getting out of the pocket. I got to set up and throw. I'm putting myself in uncomfortable spots so in a game I can be comfortable being uncomfortable. And those are ultimately the types of throws that they're going to be looking for on film. If you want to stand out to a college coach, those are the types of throws that you have to make. Again, this kid's got a lot of potential. He's obviously got a strong arm, starting on varsity, which are all great things. Just to attract those Power 5 coaches with your film, not having to go to camps and fly across the country and make them see you with your own eyes, have them come out to your school and perform for them. It's a much easier path if you make those types of plays on film, because your film is ultimately what gets you recruited.